Syracuse's mayor just last week raised a flag at City Hall declaring June Gun Violence Awareness Month.
June's already off to a rough start with gunfire claiming lives, injuring teens. We're going to have a deeper conversation now with Syracuse Police Chief Joe Cecile. Chief Cecile, thanks for joining us again this month.
Thanks for having me.
So, Chief, I know the last time you joined us, you were very encouraged about the stats. They showed a decline in the number of shootings in the city. It was pretty significant, too. As Christy mentioned, the last couple of weeks have not been particularly good. Why do you think there's been an increase all of a sudden?
Yeah, so if you look at stats for the last 5 years, probably even beyond that, you'll see an increase when summer months get here. Keep in mind, and this is not to minimize anyone who's been struck by gun violence and either killed or injured, but our numbers across every category are still down. The reason we're having this conversation, quite frankly, is because our numbers have been so low that any type of rash of crimes that we have in gun violence are that much more poignant because we've been down so far. But again, it's not to minimize any of the injuries or deaths we've had since June started.
And what do you think is working to keep those numbers down? And do you have to perhaps put a greater emphasis on it now that we're seeing more shootings?
Well, we always beef up everything in the summer. So Copra Curves, where officers are getting out of their cars, bike patrols, all of our GIVE initiatives. You know, as you know, the governor added another $700,000 or $800,000 to that GIVE initiative, which allows us to put out a lot more details, but not just enforcement. We're also in the schools, as you know, doing the pizza with the police, talking with kids, doing engagement type things. But what we're really talking about here is sustainability. You know, the police have been very good and always been very good in my entire career at driving numbers down unilaterally through enforcement. But what sustainability needs is partnerships with the schools, with the community, with businesses, because here's the deal, and I've said this 100 times, you have to be able to encourage young people that are about to pick up the gun or go down this pathway of guns, gangs, and drugs to see another opportunity. And education is the way. Education leads to opportunity. Opportunity leads to another pathway, which is, quite frankly, jobs, homes, and families. You have to get them to step off one, get on the other one, and you will have sustained lower numbers, not just once in a while.
Are you starting to see that a little bit more and more, Chief? Because you've named a number of programs that kind of bring in, there's Safer Streets, you guys have GIVE, there's PAL, there's a number of programs that feels like people are starting to come together more. Are you sensing that?
I do sense it, and thank you for mentioning PAL, because that's another big component. I'm sensing it for this reason. Our numbers, we didn't drive these numbers down unilaterally, and now that you have Pastor Lateef Johnson-Kinsey and his credible messengers out there talking with young people and adults about putting the guns down, finding another way to deal with their disputes, showing them opportunities, as I mentioned, education, job work, job training, jobs, I think that is having an impact as well.
All right, we're going to talk about Destiny now because we saw some new security added. The mall just announced that they have what's called mobile remote guarding system. We're not quite sure what that is. Maybe you can explain that, and how do you think it'll help keep things safe at the mall? Because people are concerned. There was just a stabbing there not too long ago.
Sure. So I've been on your show before, and at times where I've always been very candid about Destiny Mall. So you'll know this is true when I say this. I think they're taking all the right steps right now. This is just one more layer. It's a camera surveillance system, but they've taken steps before that with the license plate readers, with that theft initiative. That theft initiative, by the way, is huge. People were coming in there and stealing Destiny Mall blind with no accountability. Now they're being arrested. If they come back again, they're being arrested for trespassing. If they come back a third time, they're being arrested for burglary. We have the district attorney on board to prosecute them for those crimes. The line in the sand has been drawn. You're not going to come in there and just steal every day. So that's having an impact too. You have millions of people who go through that mall. You're going to have disputes. You're going to have an occasional incident. Keep in mind that stabbing was not random. It was two people that know each other in the city, came together in the mall. They already had a dispute outside the mall, and then they came into the mall. But I think Destiny Mall is making all the right steps right now to make sure not only the customers are safe in there, but the hundreds of people who work in there.
This, just not to belabor it too much, but one more follow-up, Chief. This new system that they've added, would you say it's allowing their security, your people, to get to things faster? It doesn't really necessarily prevent anything, and I don't know if anything like that even exists technology-wise, but what does it actually do?
So it would be less preventative and more reactive.
Okay.
Yes.
But get there quicker kind of thing.
Oh, without a doubt.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Let's talk about our fallen Syracuse police officer, Officer Michael Jensen, Lieutenant Michael Husak. We know our hearts and minds are still with them, with the families. And I know that in situations like this, you all take a moment, you look back and you analyze, how did this happen? Why did this happen? Can we prevent this from happening again? Where's the investigation stand with that? And also with the State Attorney General.
Yeah, so I'll start with the State Attorney General. So their investigations, as you know, Christy, take 4 to 6 months to complete, sometimes longer. I don't know what stage they are in that, but we haven't heard much back from them. But their investigations take a long time. With regards to us personally taking a step back and looking at what we can do better the next time, of course we do that. I tell you, any chief that doesn't step back from a critical incident, and not only step back, but bring all of his experts into the room and ask them what went right, but most importantly, what went wrong, and try to fix that. Any chief that doesn't do that shouldn't be in that position. And we've done that. We've had multiple meetings about this, trying to discussed, quite frankly and critically, what did go wrong, and so that we can fix it. We've come up with some things, and some of them are operational, some of them are equipment, but certainly wouldn't want to mention any of them on this show, but we are working toward making sure that if we miss something there, that we have it next time around and we go on a call like that.
Was the communication that night the best it could be?
Communication was, I think the communication, you can always improve on communication, but I think it was good. We were working with the county. We had the appropriate number of personnel there. It just went from one type of call, as you know, to another type of call.
Chief, I have to ask you, if it's not obvious to everybody at home, it certainly is to us. You got a little something there on the upper lip. We're making a little light of the situation, but there is meaning to why you and other members of the department are growing mustaches. Officer Jensen was kind of known for his hair on his upper lip kind of thing. How did this all come to be? What's it mean for everybody to kind of do this? Yeah,
so shortly after the funeral, Jeff, we all decided, because it was kind of his signature, that we would start growing the mustaches, which aren't going too well with our spouses. But we started growing them in honor of him, but also, in memory of him, because it starts conversations like the one we're having right now. And I'm out at the Wegmans or Barnes & Nobles or up at some event up at SU, and people come up to me and they see the mustache, they ask about it, they talk about it, I tell them why, and then they start talking about Officer Jensen. They tell a story, and I've said it before, but the theme of their stories that they tell about Officer Jensen was something where he went beyond what was required of an officer. Some call he was on where he found out they didn't have the proper paperwork, or they called and asked if he could follow up, and he stopped by their house and did something beyond what he was required to do. So it's just another way to continue the conversation.
Right, the conversation shows support. And also, how amazed are you by what the community has and is doing to remember these two officers?
Incredible, Christy. My desk right now, half of it, and I have a big desk, is still filled with letters that keep coming in that we're sending either to the family, or if they're coming to me or the department, we're opening them, sending back letters to whoever sent them. But they just keep coming in. There's still contributions coming in, whether it's items or money coming in. They've really surrounded the Jensen family and also his other family, the Blue family, with a lot of love and everything we needed. So it's just heartwarming.
It is heartwarming. Chief Cecile, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thanks, Chief.
Thanks for having me.
I like the stash.